Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is James. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe and turn on the post notifications to be notified of future content. Today we are going over the top 10 Clone Wars sets that should be made. So this is just things from the Clone Wars, ships, vehicles, tanks, and such that haven't been made into a Lego set yet that I think should be made into a Lego set eventually, maybe here in 2020 or later on in 2021 or so, or maybe they'll never be made. But this list is in no particular order and excludes any set that has already been made. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Alright guys, so I think we're going to start out with the obvious choice for this list, and that would be the Unstable Terrain Artillery Tank. So that set was, it's not a set, so that vehicle was almost made into a set back in like 2008, but for some reason they didn't end up producing it, so it's kind of always been a dream for the Unstable Artillery Cannon to actually be made into a set, because it's actually a really cool tank. You can see it in episode 3 and a few times in the Clone Wars. Alright, next up we have an awesome set from the Zillo Beast Ark of Clone Wars. We have the RX-200 Clone Assault Tank. So that is the little tank that was used on the ground to kind of attack the Zillo Beast when it was coming out of the sinkhole. So when he was like throwing those little tanks out of the way, it was a pretty cool scene. The tank is would be a really nice build. It wouldn't have any legs or wheels. It just kind of hovers along and can kind of magnetize to the ground, but that would be a really cool set to see in Lego, and I think a lot of people would buy that. Alright guys, so it's no secret that the Droid control ship has never been made in Lego. I think it would be a really great set to see, kind of like the Malevolence build, where it's not even close to minifigure scale, where it's just kind of a display set, I guess you could say, with the sphere in the middle and then the round part around it. I think it'd be a really good set to see in Lego, and I think it would sell really well. So I'm sure a lot of you, like me, have wanted to get Camino Ins in Lego form, which we have never got. I don't know, maybe they do like a super long neck giraffe head mold or something. That might be really cool, but I was thinking to myself, what set could they make that could include a Camino In figure? Because really the Camino in their little houses on the water, you can make that, but it would not be an accessible set to make or anything, and they don't have any prominent ships except for the Camino in flight pod, which Fives used to escape from Camino and then he ditched later. I think that would be a really cool set, because there currently is no sets made of that arc where Fives escapes from Camino and like the whole inhibitor chip and everything. So it'd be really cool to see a set including Camino Ins, and I think the little flight pod could be a nice easy build. It's all round and everything. You could include the little droid that was helping Fives and maybe 2 Camino Ins or something like that, or maybe even one of the Camino clone troopers, which would be a really cool set, and I think a lot of people would buy a lot of those sets. The next set that I think should be added to the Lego Star Wars inventory would be the Dorch class boarding ship. So I didn't know that name before I looked it up, but the Dorch class boarding ship is that little boarding ship used quite frequently in the Clone Wars with the 4 prongs that kind of dig into the side of a ship, and then it kind of opens up a hole, and then the droids all rush into the ship and attack or whatever. I think that'd be a really cool set to make in Lego. It could be figure scale even. It's not even that big of a ship. It's like maybe even the size of a droid tri-fighter or something like that. So that would be really cool to see in a set. We've never seen any set like that, so that's definitely on the list. Speaking of droid ships, I think a really good set to make would be the Trident Aqua ship. So that's the one with kind of, it looks like a submarine sort of. Well, it is a submarine. It has aqua droids and everyone in it. It jumps onto Camino in like the arc where the droids are attacking for the DNA chamber. So it kind of just jumps onto the little Camino, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, yeah, just jumps onto there. So that would be a really cool set to see. The Aqua Droid has never been made in Lego. I think that'd be really cool to see. And the whole submarine would definitely sell well, and I think it would be a great set. While we're on the subject of droids, I would like to mention the Droid Defoliator Tank would be a really cool set to see. It's basically just a regular droid tank, maybe a little longer, with the giant defoliator cannon that burns any organic life forms or plants and everything, but doesn't harm droids. You can see this like in the Lurman Ark of Clone Wars, when the droids attack and try to wipe out the Lurman with that tank. I think that would be a really cool set to see. It's not too common in the Clone Wars, it's only in one episode, but I think it'd still be a great set to see, and I think it would still sell based on the fact that it's a tank with a giant gun on top. So the last set that I think should be made on the subject of droids would be the droid landing craft. So that is the giant droid dropship, or whatever you want to call it, that carries all the droids and tanks and lands and just kind of has everything. Obviously, it wouldn't be minifigure scale. It would be more like the Malevolence or droid control ship build, like not the scale of a minifigure, but just a nice display piece to look at from afar. Maybe put high above a mock or something like that. But I think we really need to see that because it's in like every episode of Clone Wars. Not actually, but almost, because whenever there's droids, they always are brought in on those ships. So it would be a really good set to see. Alright, so there is one Ark of Clone Wars that is specifically one of my favorite arcs, and that is the Yumbaran's arc. So we didn't get that many sets from that. I think we only got the Umbaran MHC, which Mobile Heavy Cannon, which is a great set. I really like that they made that set. I think that another good set to go along with that would have been the Yumbaran Starfighter that Fives, Jesse, and Hardcase stole to like destroy the droid control ship and everything, which would go along with another set on this list. But I think the Yumbaran Starfighter, I think one of the reasons that it wasn't made is it's such an odd shape. There really isn't that much of a good way to make that in Lego. So I think that is kind of the roadblock with that set. It's like so thin and spindly, and then just the round spear in the middle kind of would be hard to make in Lego, but if they could accomplish that, it would be a really good set. Another set to go along with the Yumbaran Ark of Clone Wars would be the Yumbaran Hover Tank, which would be a lot easier to accomplish in Lego form. I think they could definitely make something like that. Definitely not out of the question with the whole Umbaran series and everything. I think it'd actually be a great set and could be made. It'd be a lot similar to the MHC, not in the actual shape, but in the piece count and everything, and the color of the pieces that it would include. But I think it would be a really cool set to see in Lego form, and would kind of complete the Yumbaran arc. Maybe it can include a Fives figure, or maybe Hardcase, Jesse, one of those clones would be really good to see. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap up the video of the sets of Clone Wars that should be made eventually, maybe. Tell me in the comments below which of these sets you think will come true and be made. And basically, all I want from a set, like BMC 1833 said, all I want from a set is a Phase 2 Captain Rex at this point. I don't actually own that figure, and it'd be really nice with the 501st Battle Pack coming out to see that figure again in a set, because honestly on Bricklink he's like $100. It's kind of a little too pricey to get him right now, so I would definitely like to see him in one of those sets. He could be in any of the Yumbaran sets, or really most of the sets on this list. They could find some way to include him, so that's just my kind of petition, I guess, Phase 2 Rex. But yeah, like always, make sure to give it a like and enjoy the rest of your day.